Hi, my name is Josh, and I'm here to talk about diets. People have tried many diets for many years, and many diets exist, but people don't always know how it affects your health. They only worry about losing weight. So today I will focus on two widely used diets, and they are low carb diets and low fat diets. And my proposition is that low fat diets are more beneficial to one's health and weight than low fat diets. And I will show you this by explaining that controlling carbohydrate intake can reduce risk of illness and obesity, and low carb diets are more effective at reducing one's weight than low fat diets. So for my first claim, controlling carbohydrate intake can reduce risk of illness such as diabetes and heart disease. This is because after eating carbohydrates, your body converts it to sugar, and from the sugar it goes into your blood, and from here the pancreas releases insulin so that the sugar can be stored away in the cells as energy. However, some people develop insulin resistance as a result of being overweight and consuming an unhealthy diet, and this leads to the accumulation of sugar in the blood, which can lead to hyperglycemia and diabetes. Low carbohydrate diets combined with high fiber, nutrient dense foods can be an effective way to control blood sugar so we don't see a spike after every meal. We can see this here with a study from Biomed Central Nutrition and Metabolism, where they found that when placing diabetics on a low carb diet, diabetes and weight was well controlled for over 44 months when they stuck to this diet. Low carb diets can also help reduce the risk of heart attack, as increased consumption of carbohydrates leads to increased production of triglycerides that are directly correlated to heart disease. A study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that comparing low-fat diets to low-carb diets, the low-carb diets showed an increase in HDL, which is a good cholesterol, an increase in insulin sensitivity, which allows the sugar to be taken out of the blood and stored in the cells, and triglycerides were also reduced. Also, on both diets, we saw a decrease in blood sugar and blood pressure. This study helps us see how the risk of heart attack is decreased in blood pressure, triglycerides, low HDL, and high blood sugar, as they are all risk factors of heart disease. So the next point, low carbohydrate diets are more effective at reducing one's weight than low fat diets. And this is because low carb diets delay gastric emptying, increase satiety, which is fullness, and reduce water retention. In a study done on overweight women in the Journal of American Dietetic Association, it was found that when consuming low carbohydrate diets, women actually had reduced hunger, and weight loss was greater compared to low fat diets. Many variations of low carbohydrate diets exist, including ketogenic, Atkins, South Beach, paleo, and many more, while low-fat diets are not as known, and they include the Ornish diet and the McDougall's starch diet. These low-carbohydrate diets produce results because they decrease the amount of calories eaten and they restrict sugar consumption. When these two diets were compared in a study done by New England Journal of Medicine in people with severe obesity, they studied to determine the effects on weight loss, and here they found that more weight loss was found in the low-carb diet when 5.8 kilograms was lost compared to only 1.9 kilograms in the low-fat diet. So again, this is why low-carb diets are beneficial to one's health and weight than low-fat diets.
All right, Josh, I was a little confused because I swear, and I could be wrong, and maybe my brain just skipped a groove or something. I swear that your proposition at first said that low-fat diets were better for your health than the low-carb diets, and I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. And then all of your secondary points go the exact opposite direction of that. And that's how you finish the speech at the end too. So I know that your argument is really advocating low-carb diets as opposed to the low-fat diets, but it sure didn't sound that way at the beginning. And I'm going to have to go back. Like I said, maybe I missed it, or maybe you just said it wrong. I'm not sure which it is. All right, but yeah, like I said, I was completely confused for a minute because it said every supporting point seemed to run contrary to the proposition that you had presented. So that threw me off a little bit. You know, and I don't want to jump to the conclusion that it was you, but I'm. You know, I've been listening to a lot of speeches. Maybe I'm just tired. We'll have to run it back. Everybody's going to be watching your speech now to see what happens. All right. The preview, I think, needs to, first of all, you rush through it, and it's not as clear as it needs to be, and I think that that's a little bit of a problem. And because you're reading it so much, it all kind of runs together a little bit, so you want to be careful about that. I think your delivery could improve the setup of the structure in the preview quite a bit. In the body of the speech, I can hear the claims that you're presenting. There's no numerical signposts as you get into those points, except on the last point, there's a little bit of a suggestion that that is, in fact, the third point of the presentation. The assumptions of the arguments are explained pretty well. It's basic physical issues that you're dealing with. I think you're doing okay there. The examples, the supporting material is pretty solid. You've got statistical information, you've got testimony information, you've got examples that you're using. You generally provide sources. It was a little thin on the first point, but the second and third points, there's a lot of information that talks about those things. Once again, I do think you have a tendency to rush through this, and there are places where some of the information gets complicated to listen to because we're using terms that people don't use all of the time. When you're talking about the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol and the relationship to the blood sugars and the blood pressure, you kind of zip through that, and I think you need to be a little careful. And again, I think that the delivery is what's hurting you there most of all. All right, like I said, we had a little confusion.